Playtime's over. Stand by for deployment to the war zone. Enemies drop.
Hoo-ha-ho, hoo-ha-ho. I ain't never letting go.
Resurgence. Stay alive to keep your
Vamos a la marqueta.
Alright, soldier.
Verga, ¿cómo se pronuncia el nombre del azul? Sanok. Ganok. Ganok.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Verga, un sniper.
Nah, está.
No mames, güey, ¿cómo que con la pistoleta de las... Chica tu madre, pendeja. Caso de mierda.
¡Ay, ahorita!
A pistolazos, güey, a mí también me chingaron, güey.
Pero tiene una escopeta, güey. Está bien puñada la pinche escopeta, güey.
Time for vengeance. You're redeploying. Enemies dropping
No,
into the area.
no, 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 no.
Running.
Chale, güey.
Stand by.
Mis culeras son estas. ¿Y se le pega?
Acá está el mariachi en las carpas.
Me pegaron. Ahí se
Me
brincó.
mató. Verga, ¿qué demonio el mariachi? ¿Qué demonio?
We are returning you to the front. Earn this.
Deja mis armas, perro maldito.
Enemy soldier
Ahí le cayó, le cayó.
Me hizo mierda el vato, güey.
Güey, está una bala.
Oye, pero qué pesado como nos mató.
Güey,
Get
está
ready.
duro, güey.
You're redeploying.
El del equipo de Power ya robó, güey.
Verga, güey. ¿Qué pedo
Puta
con
madre
esa,
me
güey?
estrellé, güey.
Me ando lagging.
Your squad mates redeploying. Well done.
Está una desgracia, güey.
Got reinforcements in.
Que ahí caigo, güey, se la reta.
Enemies dropping into the area.
La raza
Yo me moví.
Your squad mates back on station. Good work.
Before I got on today. I don't remember.
Uy, le tumbaron a la verga, vato. Bien zarra, güey.
You fall asleep at 8 o'clock?
Chinga.
Verga, güey.
Tu madre.
Puro endemoniado a la verga, güey.
Se acabó aquí.
¿Qué comes, mariachi?
Brackets.
Crackets de cebolla con limón.
Check your gear and weapons. We'll be deploying shortly. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemies dropping into the AO. All stations, this is Shadow 01. Deployment to the war zone has been authorized.
I ain't never letting go.
Resurgence. Survive to redeploy fallen teammates. Kill to bring them back faster. Mark a drop point for your squad and link it in.
Va a caer todo el mundo, la verdad.
No creo, güey.
Chilo.
Vas a ver un cargacero ahí en el
2-3 van a caer. 2-3.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Entonces, voy entrando. Contigo.
A deserter left your squad. We'll redeploy faster to make up for it.
Vamos al mall. Como que hay gente peleándose.
Va cayendo uno.
¿Dónde?
Bueno, lo escuché. No sé.
Aquí están, aquí están.
And we locate the
Ay, me hizo cagar.
No, güey, muy chistoso.
No, güey, llegaron muchos.
Ríbete, ríbete.
Ahí
Vamos a
les
pegar,
marqué
vamos a
otro. Es que sí, son 4 contra 3, güey. Y tiene sus armas.
Viene otro, güey. Oh, me remató, hijo de puta madre, güey.
Maldito canalla, güey. Es que pidieron su logro a todos esos vatos.
Your squad mates redeploying.
Qué
Well done.
mayates.
Pues cerquita ahí donde te mataron.
Traigo, no traigo.
Sí, sí, sí. Con nosotros.
Acá están en police. Bueno, no en police acá.
Una revólver, hermano.
Gas is inbound.
Agarra un arma y luego ya te jalas.
Aquí hay gente conmigo. Y aquí enfrente también.
La pierna, inclusive.
Están por arriba, güey.
¿Quién se subió? ¿El ceja?
Me pegaron un poquito.
Squad mates to the safe zone.
Yo estoy arriba, pero no los veo.
Se tiraron por
Tiraron.
nosotros.
Ay, mató. No quiero.
Verga, güey, a mí me llegó.
Otro equipo, güey.
Otro equipo, ajá.
Loadout drop headed your
Loadout.
way. Resurging. Go get your revenge.
Me están pegando ya, güey.
En el lado.
Pues me pegaron y iba cayendo de ahí arriba.
Hay otro loadout ahí, ¿no?
Sí,
Muy campeable.
Como que están peleando en el techo ese.
Ahí les voy a subir.
Enemies dropping into the AO.
Ay, güey. Le rompí las placas a uno.
Muerto uno.
Me persigue uno a mí.
Ay, a la verga, güey. ¿Qué pasó, güey?
XP multiplier deployed.
Pinche campeón,
¿Qué, güey?
Mierda, este vato, güey.
¿Viste?
You need to do better.
¿Qué pasa, Aranza? Están campeando, güey.
No, el vato me supo leer pasado de verga.
Únete a los
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. I'm T-Captain X. Today we're gonna like a super ultra competitive player. Full screen borderless is probably fine. You probably won't notice the difference, but exclusive is your best for less latency. Display monitor is just whatever your monitor is. Display adapter is whatever your GPU is. So it only need to change if you have more than one GPU in your PC for some reason. For refresh rate, whatever the highest one available is what you're gonna wanna check. I'll show you guys how to double check it's set correct in your PC itself too. But if you were playing on a TV 40p monitor, what your aspect ratio is, just so you get that correct. For the display gamma, if you're on a PC monitor, it should be 2.2, but if you were playing on a TV, especially if you're on console, if you are GPU bound, which I am myself, and the majority of you guys probably are, you're gonna set this to on. If you're CPU bound though, you would do on plus boost. And FYI, if you have an AMD card, you won't have this option at all. Now, what this does is basically it's NVIDIA technology. It's gonna help reduce any latency on the system. To figure this out, one, you can run that benchmark, but if you do not own MW3 multiplayer and you can't run that benchmark, another thing you can do is go to your interface settings, go down here to your telemetry, hit show more, and turn on your GPU card time and your processor CPU time. Now you're gonna need to do this in game because this is not accurate in the menu here, but whichever one is higher in game is what you're bound to. So based off this, it looks like I'm CPU bound, but in game my GPU tends to be even or just 1 millisecond higher actually than my CPU. So that would be a GPU bound case. So there are some delay if you do use VSync. For the custom frame rate limit, in reality, I should probably set this to custom and I should probably leave this at 240 because I have a 240 hertz monitor.
¿Alguna vez
Really
has
much of a
visto
point of me
a
going over that.
Aidan
I had it
y a
on
mí
unlimited.
jugando al mismo tiempo?
No, ¿tú eres él? De casualidad.
Exacto, bro.
Verga.
A ver, demuéstralo, Mario. Con una cátedra.
Resurgence. Survive and your team can redeploy. Eliminate targets and bring them back faster. Your team leader. Set a drop point for your squad, so
Váyanse a la verga.
Hombre, yo tuve que pegarme un pelapapas de ahí, güey. O sea,
Es un cagadero, güey.
Macizo, güey.
You got reinforcements inbound.
Ay, perra.
no, güey.
¿Cómo sale el sniper a la verga? Hasta así nunca, qué verga.
Stand by for redeployment. Your squad mates redeploying. Well done. Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
No mames, güey, que ningún puta arma, güey.
No. Tras de ti.
No, hombre.
Gas is closing in. Your squad mates back on station. Good work. You're back on station.
Moving
Go
to my
get
mark.
after it.
Hands on my left.
All right, your squad's in the safe zone.
¿Qué gente para? Ah, no es el...
Pura sniper, yo también a la verga.
Un puto regreso, güey.
Because I wanted to have my FPS way down because kind of furry kind of black edge around the edge of the screen when you turn it up, and I think it's maybe like a visual thing to help people focus on the center of the screen. I recommend leaving this all. We're gonna mindset to custom. You're as soon as you change anything, it's gonna go from one of these and change into custom. For your render resolution, just leave this at 100. There's the one piece is like I recommend using a dynamic resolution.
Friendly loadout drops
Assuming
on the
you're
way.
on an average to good PC, the majority of you guys are going to want to use Fidelity FX Cast because what this does is it's going to make your game just look a
got
lot
reinforcements
sharper, a lot
inbound.
more crisp with
Enemies dropping into the AO.
¿Cómo que trae palos, güey? ¿Cómo que trae palos, mi niño, güey? ¿Cómo que trae palos?
Que pero no veo a nadie, güey.
En el oro hay un vato campeando
Your
con
squad mates
palos.
redeploying. Well done.
Y el Hugo no está, güey.
No, ya estoy. Es que estoy moviéndole los gráficos, güey, porque se ve medio... Ando medio lento.
No, está lagueado, está lagueado el juego, güey.
Ay, qué loco, güey, me metí.
La están capando en forma, güey. Ahí luego tiene un ataque, güey.
I blinked it. Oh, bro, these kids are fucking. I blinked.
Shut the fuck up, kid, shut the fuck up.
Subtext out.
Mike.
Hold on. Next month.
Where are you going
No,
to next
April.
month?
Aquí están las escaleras.
Bro, no.
Bro, where you going next month? Puta, güey. Eres una pinche asquerosa, güey.
Me hizo cagar el vato, güey. Qué enfermo, güey.
Salud.
Man, ¿por qué mataron con risa con eso, güey?
No sé, mataron con una arma. No sé con qué te mataron.
No, pues mataron un tiempo, güey. Pero matar a ese vato, güey. Eso es cierto.
A ver, mató con unos palos. Puta bomba de puta bomba madre.
Mark the rest of them.
Viendo agarrando loot, güey. Muy a huevo.
You're losing ground. Move it.
Bueno, a la verga.
Diles que no, diles que no. Carlos, diles que no. Aquí hay armas, snipers.
All squad members are in the safe zone.
Aquí hay un chingo de armas, güey. Snipers.
Enemy mark.
Enemies are dropping into
No sé
the
qué
area.
pedo con
Watch
este
the
tío.
sky.
Moving to my mark. Scratch that. Moving. Hostile located.
Escuché chingar de pasos, güey.
Les brinqué a estos datos de acá. Ah, conmigo, verga, vale, verga. Dale, güey. No pensaba que... No pensaba.
No, güey, mi compa también valió verga, güey. La neta voy a retroceder, güey. No,
Very minimal to no FPS. More FPS drops if you crank this to 100. I'm on 75.
aquí,
This is
güey.
completely personal preference. So now, if you are
Resurging. Go get your revenge.
Y ese fierro, Mario.
Verga.
Your squad mates redeployed. Well done.
on a really low end PC, you are struggling for frames. You could try doing NVIDIA DLSS if you have an NVIDIA card, and if you have an AMD card, AMD latency. Yes, you will get more FPS. It's not gonna feel like you're getting more FPS. It's just gonna say you are up in the top.
Qué mala suerte, güey.
People like to just crank this
Fue
sucker
muy
all
mal
the way to
timing,
90, and they're like, yeah, more VRAM, dude. That's not always a good thing because it'll likely lead to more 1% lows. Pretty different settings. Setting and setting this year, and it's very, very good. Make sure this is turned on. From what I understand, what it does is the center of your screen gets priority.
Ustedes
Stand by for redeployment.
al Silvio.
You've got reinforcements inbound.
¿Cuándo acá es la raza?
Yo caí con el Sir. Oh.
Your squad mates back on station. Good work. Fire sale's over. Adjusting
Pero andan
prices.
por abajo del agua, ¿no? Ustedes.
Simón.
Ahí pidieron un loro.
Gas is closing in.
Yo creo que ahí vienen, güey.
Move to the safe zone.
¿Suelta una bala?
Vale.
Ay, a la verga, güey. Campero, campero. Tienes toda la puta partida en el mismo lugar, güey.
In terms of rendering,
No mames,
priority of
güey.
getting like render. So you're basically going to have a sharper, clearer
Bien duro
picture
los
of that
pinches
kind of
lobbies.
center and it's actually I would
Good.
recommend turning this one on. Scrolling down here into details and textures. For like 90% of you guys, I'm gonna recommend low. Very low looks like crap. It looks like Play-Doh, and I would only recommend that if you're on a ultra low end PC. Most people low looks way better and has much better FPS performance. The only reason I play normal is because I have a very high end PC, and my low 1% are literally better than what my monitor max refresh rate even is. So I might as well boost my visual quality because it basically
voy a hacer una
I
clase.
don't recommend high unless you're playing like campaign. You want the game to look super good, but normal to high, the difference is minimal, but normal FPS wise gets a very big benefit. Texture filter ansiotropic. This has to do with like looking things at an angle. There's not much of an FPS difference here, honestly. I could probably go to high, but I've just got mine on normal just because what I've always run it. But again, low if you're on a super low end PC, but probably normal if you're anyone else. Depth of field, make sure you turn this off. This gives this weird blur effect when you zoom your gun. It is just not good for being able to see enemies. Detail quality level has to do with like the bushes and the trees and the grass. It's not very important, so I have that turned low because we're just going to get more FPS out of it. Particle resolution, this has to do with explosions here, and I'm going to actually move my camera over so that you guys can see that a little bit better. So on low, you see much less sparks. On high, you see a lot more. Mine has nothing to do with explosion. Really pretty if you your competitive purposes. If you're playing game, what I can tell, game looked better, and I noticed no FPS drops when I did this. If you are again on a super low end PC, feel free to turn this down to low though. Shadow and lighting is another very important area just because shadows tend to be one of the biggest things that has to do with your performance in FPS. Now, when it comes from very low to normal, yes, you will gain a few more FPS on very low, but shadows start to look really wonky and bad here. If you can see how like blurry and edge they are versus how crisp they are here, when we go to normal, they look pretty close to how they are on ultra, but
Estoy haciendo una clase.
so I play normal. Again, lower end PCs, low or very low is what you're going to want to play with. Screen space shadows has to do with the shadows from your gun or your character. So I like to leave mine on low, just that way I can see, because I believe this has to interact with if there's an enemy standing above you and they're making a shadow. If it's off, I don't think you will see that shadow from what I can tell. So I like to keep it on low that way, because there's been times where somebody's above me and I see their shadow, kind of like other shadowing. Like you can look at the under the wheel here, how the shadows are. Not really big in terms of helping you see better. I actually think you can see better with it off anyway, so this should help you see better in dark corners. Screen space reflection, and then the stat, not going to help. It has to do with how, if you look like flat, so it helps kind of those like natural surfaces of like brick walls and stuff like that. I have mine set to near, so if I'm right up by it, it doesn't look like Play-Doh, but it's not trying to render it super far from all. Again, for max performance, just leave it off, but I have mine set to near because it makes the game look just a little bit better without much of an FPS hit. Volumetric quality, make sure you leave this off. This will make things like seeing through the fog and lighting a little bit easier. This is with on high, you can see those kind of light particles shine through a little bit more, whereas over here it's just like a normal clear picture. Different weather, all of these off. Again, these all look really pretty, but they're only going to hurt our FPS, and they're not going to help us see enemies better either with any of these on. Moving on to the view tab, which is the final tab of graphics. So field of view is going to be a bit subjective here. I do play on the maximum of 120, but do keep note that when you play above about 100, you can start to see some FPS hits and decrease to your performance when you go above 100. If you're used to playing on console back in the day in Warzone 1, you might want to stick with about 100 to 102, and I give you, and you does have will have more visual recoil on independent, whereas affected will make that recoil seem like it is less because of that wider field of view. For the weapon field of view, I also use wide simply because this is going more enemies, but I just like a cinematic effect. It makes the green look kind of blurry and grainy. Not even sure why it's a setting to be your, in my opinion. You can also invert your, but I just leave mine off because I like getting blinded at 3 a.m. in the morning. Now, after graphics, I am going to go into the interface tab here because I do want to show a few things. I would recommend you turn subtitles off unless you like them for multiplayer. That way they're not taking up your screen and you're in your way at all like that. When we come down to color customization though here, this is something that you can do to make your game kind of pop and look a little bit better. So on my mini map, I actually have my enemies set to this pink color. So I have my palette to custom, and then mine is this kind of pinkish purple color. I just think it's a little bit easier to see than the red. There's nothing wrong with red. This is totally personal preference. I've seen some people set it as green because it stands out more to them. Again, totally personal preference there on that one. Now, when it comes to the color filter settings though, I do recommend going to filter 2. This is the colorblind setting, but it just makes the game look more vibrant and prettier. I feel like you can see in dark areas a little bit better as well. Change your target to both, and then also your intensity to 100 for both of those. And the game should look a little bit more vibrant and pretty. I feel like you can see in dark areas a little bit better as well. Change your target to both, and then also your intensity to 100 for both of those. And the game should look a little bit more vibrant and pretty. Going down to your HUD bounds, you can crank this in a bunch, and what that will do is going to bring things like your minimap in closer to your screen, so you don't have to look so far. Mine's brought in just slightly, and I like it the way it is, so I'm not going to mess with it. But it's a good option to bring these in just so you can see a little bit better there. Minimap shape, make sure this is on square. Square actually allows you to see larger than recommend turning the minimap rotation and horizontal compass on. For your crosshairs, I do like playing with the center dot on and the center dot as largest. It just helps me with my centering as I'm walking around and aiming. I like to have that larger center dot, but it's totally personal preference there. A few other settings here to cover really quick just to show you guys. For my telemetry, this is what I use. I recommend 3 on at least. That way you know your FPS, any latency, and packet loss if you're having any issues there. And then just we're actually going to open up our documents file. So go to your documents. Be the first one. It's options.4.cod23. Open up notepad here, and where there's a few things we can change in the game config files that it doesn't allow you to change in the game settings here. The first one is going to be the renderer worker count. This is going to depend on your CPU here. So generally what you're going to be doing here is you're going to do this for the number of cores that your CPU has, not the number of threads. So look resolution, but make sure the refresh rate is set to the highest that it can go here. I've seen a lot of people will get like a brand new monitor and it's like a 240 hertz monitor and they have it set to 60. So make sure that is there. My second monitor doesn't really matter. It's not my gaming monitor there. Moving down to the desktop color settings here. This one is very important, and this one I really recommend with digital vibrance. Turning this up.
Este es un reconocimiento a quienes ponen en marcha al mundo.
What's up guys, and welcome back to Software Solutions, and today we talk about Call of Duty Warzone Season 2. Now yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of things in store for you guys when it comes to the content. Pretty cool feature, I guess. I don't know what cocaine Call of Duty smokes, I really don't. But anyways, like, I guess it's a cool feature, I don't know. Just turn it off, to be honest. Turn it off so you can get off.
Enemy soldier incoming.
A la verga, ya estoy mucho mejor. Las últimas 2-3 partidas, güey, había estado jugando con FPS bien bajos, güey. Pero ya le moví unos settings y ya.
All stations, we are green to go. Stand by for deployment.
Verga, güey.
A ver si lo meto ahorita.
Resurgence. Survive to redeploy fallen teammates. Kill to bring them back faster.
No lo metió, güey.
¿Qué para nos salimos?
Pues sí, ¿no? A ver. Mariachis, ¿me escuchas?
¿Qué pedo?
A ver.
¿Tú no lo empezaste?
Sí, pero no te metió. Pero ya nos salimos, a ver. Voy a invitar a un morrito de 10 años. A ver si se une.
onto your other fucking screens. Alright, ahead and add this at 100%, okay? And then it will do your native resolution of your screen. Now, I can push this up all the way to 4K. I'm not going to do that. No one's going to play the game in fucking 4K. Who wants to? Settings, good if be playing ahead and turn increases F, and it really FX cache. And why I'm on it right now is because this upscaling looks crystal clear. It's nice and sharp, and I'm running this on a 4070 Super. Let me just say that I'm running Fidelity FX cache on a 4070 Super. It runs extremely well on a lot of GPUs. It could be low end, medium end to high end GPUs. Fidelity FX cache is the sweet spot for Season 2 right now at this very moment. Now, if you're struggling with FPS, you're physically struggling with FPS, I highly recommend you jump over to AMD FSR 3.0 or AMD FSR 1.0. 3.0, I would recommend more than 1.0. 3.0, you go here and you go to balance and have this over here. You turn it either on or off if you have this option. Obviously, if you have this option, okay? Turn it on or off and test it out and see how it runs, okay? Now, something I want to mention is this.
Check your gear and weapons. We'll be deploying shortly. Enemy soldier incoming.
Moving to my mark.
If you want your game to look like a AAA title game, or you got a decent enough NVIDIA graphics card, go to NVIDIA DLSS. I've tested this out myself by running NVIDIA DLSS instead of Fidelity if it's cache, and NVIDIA DLSS actually makes the game look really, really crystal clear and gives you really good FPS as well. So it's between those two if you have an NVIDIA card. Use NVIDIA DLSS or use Fidelity FX cache. Please go ahead and use those two options if you're running a decent option. I don't recommend 40 series cards. It can makes me want to. Most case scenarios, it decreases. It's like a couple of caps. I would recommend running it at quality or running it at balance if you are using NVIDIA image scaling. Okay, please go ahead and then use this option. Then this is your own personal preference on the sharpness on the video.
Stay alive to keep your squad in the fight.
That's bullshit. Okay? If you've been following the video from the beginning,
Drop point for your squad and go get after it. Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Cierro morros. Qué locura cómo me ando trabando, güey. Imposible, güey.
You got reinforcements inbound. You're back on station. Go get after it.
¿Qué
Your
mariacho?
squad mate's back
¿Cómo
on
está la
station.
bronca?
Good work.
Güey. No puedo ni caer ahí a la verga, güey. Así, güey. ¿Qué onda, Nico?
No, el Nico le pone macizo.
Y sí.
Como que nivel un putero.
Ahí ves, tiene 10 años. ¿O cuántos años tiene, Nico?
Hola.
¿Qué hueles? ¿Qué hueles?